Guys, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we try to cover all things reality, TV news, and gossip, as well as trending topics. And here lately, we have been talking a lot about Jenelle Evans and the drama going on in her life, you guys. And it just continues. Like when you think it's going to slow down and maybe the dust will settle, nope, they stir it right back up. So it's Monday. I've been super busy all weekend, super busy today. Had several things kind of pop up that kept me from getting in here to do my work. And finally, I got out here and I started receiving emails. Well, I finally got to where I could even check my phone and I started receiving emails about the stuff going on with Jace. Over the weekend, I received an email letting me know that Jace had ran away from Barbara's house. So just to catch you guys up, if you're not aware, Jace ran away from Barbara's house Friday. He was found, at first it was saying that he was found Sunday, but it looks like he was found like late Saturday from my understanding. Now Jace basically knew, like, hey, if you get in any trouble at your May's house, you're not going to be able to live with May. Like, you know, we may see you to juvie, we may see you to mental health. Like, you're not going to be at May's house, right? So you would think that he would, mind his P's and Q's, but unfortunately, for some reason, Friday he took off and the police did look for him and he was found. And like I said, it was first reported Sunday, but I think it was actually Saturday night that he was found. Now, while he was MIA, the police actually, CPS had to notify Jenelle that Jace was missing. And the reason why is because while we know that Jenelle, okay, so when Jace was living with Jenelle, we know he ran away those 3 times. And the third time, he ended up in the hospital. He made claims that Jenelle's husband, David, assaulted him. He allegedly had marks. This assault was allegedly on a ring camera, right? So the third time he ran away, he never went back to Jenelle's house. From the hospital, he was sent off to a mental health facility to hopefully get his mental health in line. And then he spent, it was either a week or 2 weeks in the mental health facility, and then a Barbara picked him up. From the time that he ran away that third time, though, when he was in the hospital, CPS stepped in. They took custody of him, and they basically said, we have custody of him, but we are going to allow him to stay with his grandmother. And we will just check in, once a week, twice a week, once a month, or whatever, to make sure that he's doing good. And they've already had one court date where Barbara updated the judge saying he's doing okay, he's back in school, because when he was with Jenelle, he had actually gotten suspended from school. So Barbara checks in with the judge and she's like, everything's fine, like he's doing well, he's back in school. So they actually have the second court date coming up where she was supposed to update the judge again. And at that point, it could potentially have been a more permanent resolution to his living situation. Like if he was doing good still, the judge may have said, okay, well, you can live back with your grandmother as long as she is up for that. However, we didn't get to that part. We didn't get to them going back to court because he ran away. Now, despite the fact that when he ran away that third time, CPS stepped in and they placed him with Barbara, they did remove him from Jenelle's custody, but Jenelle still has legal rights to make medical decisions for Jace. Now, a source spoke to the Ashley's Reality Roundup and told the Ashley that Barbara was unable to get Jace back on his medication due to the fact that Jenelle had to give the okay and she would not do so. Also, and I'm going to touch more on this. A lot of people misunderstood me in my last video. A lot of people's like, I'm so upset with you that you think he needs more medication. I never said he needed more medication. I can't believe you think that's all he needs. That's not what I said, but I am the mother of a son with ADHD. And let me tell you, I do believe there are doctors out there that misdiagnose. I do believe there's doctors out there that just, they get you in and they just write the script and they send you on your way. However, there is also, physicians out there that really do care about their patients. And it's up to the parent's job to find those physicians. If you go to a doctor and you tell them your concerns and they don't listen, then, as a parent, you have that gut feeling like something's wrong, something's not right. he's getting in trouble at school. He's not making good grades when I know that he should. He can't sit still at home, but you're taking him to the doctor and they're saying, he's just a boy. He's just a boy. As a parent, like, we got to keep going because this is not accurate. So I also believe there's those doctors out there that want to make sure they give the proper medication. And sometimes, unfortunately, medication is needed. I'm not saying it's always needed, but I got some heat from my last video in the comment section. Like, I'm so disappointed in you saying he needed more medication. I did not. Here's the thing, Jace has been on medication for 7 years. Jace is diagnosed ADHD. Like, that's a well known thing. If you guys watch Jenelle and Barbara part one on the MTV that I shared with you guys yesterday, I think it's part one, it actually shows where Barbara talks about the fact that he's been going to the doctor and he's been going to a psychologist. And they both agree that he's ADHD. He's getting in a lot of trouble. He was getting in trouble at daycare. He started getting in trouble, when it switched over to school. So a doctor and then they're like, not only did she have him seen by a doctor and a psychologist, but they also had him seen by a psychiatrist when he was young due to the way that he acted out at home, the way that he acted at school, before that daycare. So this is not just, Barbara brought him to the doctor and said, oh, he's too hyper, put him on Ritalin. That's not what happened, you guys. If you go back and watch the show, Barbara had him seen by multiple people before he was diagnosed, psychologist, psychiatrist, a doctor. And Jenelle fought with her, a doctor doesn't specialize in mental health. Like, some do though. Some specialize in different areas. And like, I know my son's doctor, like when I went to her and I was like, I think he may be ADHD. They have you fill out this form. The parent fills it out, the school fills it out. If you bring it back and it hits like a certain score, then like they test the child at, within the doctor's office as well. And then, they figure out what's the proper medication. And sometimes it does take a lot. But for people that's like, you shouldn't throw medication at kids, just like kids, sometimes they may need medication, sometimes they don't. But it's just like, as we grow older, I have asthma. Should I not use my albuterol inhaler because it's medication? No, sometimes your body needs it because chemical imbalances and things like that. So the heat that I got over me saying just that he needed to possibly be back on his medication was like unreal. And I'm like, are people not like watching the show? And considering I have a son on medication due to his ADHD and knowing how drastic like how bad it affects him when he's not on his medication, like I think I have a little bit of understanding of how it possibly affected Jace. Jace has been on medication for 7 years. He has ADHD. He has an anxiety disorder. And I think there's more. I don't remember, but anxiety disorder, ADHD. So he has been going to therapy as well as taking medication for 7 years, right? Yeah, psychologists, I don't think can write prescriptions. I think it's psychiatrists. Psychiatrists can write medication, and psychologists cannot, or vice versa. It's one or the other. So, anyways, right? Barbara has had Jace back after he ran away the third time. He goes to the mental health clinic. If you guys may remember, Jenelle actually filed a restraining order against Barbara after that, saying that when Jace was in the hospital, that Barbara okayed for Jace to have medication. You guys remember that? You guys remember the restraining order that Jenelle tried to take out, saying that Barbara was like a harm to her son because she gave the hospital the okay to give her son medication. So apparently, just because Jenelle does not have custody of Jace, she still legally can make the decision on the medication that he is allowed to take, right? So he ran away, and it's said that he was really struggling with the things that his mother had been posting over the past few weeks. More than likely, the way that she took up for David so much, the way that she put so much blame on Jace. A source spoke to the Ashley saying this, like, hey, Jace was really struggling with everything that Jenelle had going on. Barbara had tried to get him to put back on his medication, but was not able to because Jenelle was not agreeing to that. Also, Barbara tried to get him back into his therapy, his behavioral therapist appointments, but no therapist would see him due to David and Janelle. Um, David actually posted a review on David's therapist's site, giving her a 1-star rating, basically just saying, "Oh, this therapist is a horrible therapist. She will convince your child that they have mental health disorders that they don't have. She exaggerates everything. She like turns your child against you." So while Jace was back with Janelle and back with Barbara, and he, had enrolled in school and he seemed to be doing okay in school, he was still unable to get the proper medication. He was still struggling mentally with all the crap that his mama was doing on social media. He was unable to be put back on his medication. He was unable to resume his therapy appointments. So the source said he was struggling. Okay. He runs away. Saturday night, Sunday, whatever he has found. While he is missing, though, David and Janelle is Nana booing the public. Ha ha ha. See, if he ran away from Barbara, then it must be him and not us. If he ran away from Barbara, that tells you guys we did nothing wrong. It was all on him. That's literally what they were doing. Janelle posted some photos of me doing this, like, ha ha ha, if y'all only knew. The weapons formed against me when they no longer, I don't remember exactly what it said, but and David posted a thing on Facebook saying, "Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Why is he already missing? I haven't even opened the cereal box yet." Like they were literally gloating over the fact that Jace ran away from Barbara's house now. Okay, which is the Janelle. A source says that Jace was struggling over some of the things that his mother had been posting. Well, this will be another one of those things that causes your son to struggle when he sees that you are gloating about the fact that he ran away from Barbara's house. Okay? You should be concerned. He was still missing at this point, allegedly. Okay? Um, so, anyways, let's get into the Sun's article that they released. Also, I did see that Jace was allegedly in the hospital. A lot of people have wondered, like, where will he go? What's going to happen? And I've talked to my mother-in-law, who was a CPS investigator for like 10 years. She is a degree in child psychology. And she was the one that went into the home and like wrote the report. Like, I think the kid needs to be removed. This is what my recommendation. My mother-in-law did that for several years. So I've talked to her a little bit about this and just asked her, like, what do you think could happen from this? And so she's like, if the judge thinks that he's just being defiant, then he could end up in juvenile. If the judge thinks that it's his medication, he could end up, in a mental health facility. However, a lot of court systems are all about reunification, and they may still try to place Jace back with Janelle. So I'm like, well, his stepdad is facing charges. If the charges are dropped, there could be a possibility that CPS has already made demands of Janelle, basically. CPS has said you need to go to intense therapy, you have to submit drug tests. The fact that they are making demands of her tells me one or two things. It is because they think that at some point they may place Jace back with her. So they want to make sure she undergoes therapy, that she can pass a drug test, or this may still be an investigation concerning the other kids. Like, hey, this is what the other kids told us. Um, we think she needs therapy. We need to make sure she can pass a drug test. And if not, maybe she'll lose their other kids. But either way, the fact that they are making demands tells me something. There's a reason for it. There's a reason behind it. It's either pertaining to the other kids, and she has to make sure she does those things so she don't lose the other kids, or it's because they have some desire to possibly place Jace back with her in her custody, which would be wild. Like if the charges were dropped or dismissed or whatever, and you know, and she submits to random drug tests and they're clean for a year and she undergoes intensive therapy for a year, they may potentially. I don't know. So, anyways, let's get into this article by the Sun really quickly. You guys make sure you are getting along in the chat. I know this is a sensitive topic. I understand that some people do not agree with medications. I understand that some people do agree with medications. And one thing that I can say is I honestly did not understand how important a medication could be to a child until I had a child that needed it. Before then, I'm like, oh, we should not be, jamming pills down our kid's throat. But when you have a child that really they cannot sit still in school without it, then you think differently, and you're like, oh, okay, So everybody in the chat, please get along. All right, so let's see what the Sun has to say. I do agree that big pharma is like just a money making machine, but I also do believe too that there are, you know, people that need medication. So I do believe that big pharma is just all about the money. I do agree with that. All right, so teen mom Jenelle Evans has been court ordered by CPS to complete intensive therapy and drug tests after she lost custody of Jace. Sources close to teen mom exclusively reveal that after Jace was removed from her custody, Jenelle was ordered to undergo intensive therapy. They're expected to last for months on end. She is being forced to do all this therapy, and this is not like the last time that she had CPS investigating her home. This is bigger than that. She will be in therapy for months, which I feel like she probably needs therapy, to be quite honest. I mean, I do. I feel like she needs therapy. The insider added that Janelle is also undergoing drug testing as part of the Child Welfare Agency's case. Jace has been removed from Janelle's home in late September by CPS after he ran away for the third time following an alleged assault by his stepdad. While CPS has since maintained legal custody of Jace, he was placed in Barbara's care with sight on possibly making the arrangement once again permanent. Barbara has raised Jace since he was a baby, and she only gave her daughter Janelle custody back in March. However, that option is over for the time being after Jace ran away from his grandmother's home this time over this past weekend. An insider familiar with the situation said that the teen has thus far remained in a local hospital following the latest runaway incident. One source said that Jace left Barbara's house Friday afternoon, and after a frantic police search over the weekend, he was located on Saturday night around 9:30 p.m. The Ashley was the first to report on the news. According to multiple insiders, therapists have been unwilling to work with Jace because they do not want to deal with the backlash from David and Jenelle, which is very sad because there's no doubt. Listen, kids that grow up on TV, just in general, probably need therapy. Kids that grow up on TV with the type of family that Jace had, no doubt need therapy. But unfortunately, for Jace to get therapy, he would probably have to go to another state. Like, I don't even know. Like, he would literally have to find like a doctor that did not know him. David also recently posted a review bashing one of Jace's longtime therapists, further exacerbating the issue of the teen being able to obtain proper mental health. On Friday night at about 11 p.m., Jace's stepdad posted a cryptic message on his Facebook page. It read, "Where's Waldo? Why is he already hiding? And I haven't even opened the cereal box yet." So this is David, like, making fun of the fact that Jace was missing. The post came after Jace's disappearance, but the 35-year-old has not confirmed that the post was related to his teenage stepson's disappearance. But I'm sure it was. I mean, Jenelle was posting, like, ha ha ha, if you guys only knew, na 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 boo boo. And he was posting this. And this is literally right after Jace runs away. At the time, Jenelle and David were notified by CPS that Jace had ran away, and they continued to post on social media. David has mocked his stepson on social media in the past. In October, there were comments on one of the former MTV stars' Facebook posts to promote his new music. Above the post, David wrote, "Don't forget to put my music video on so I can secondhand embarrass you." One fan responded, "How are you embarrassing us? Because someone might hear us listening to this crap." David fired back, "Exactly. Don't let your mama hear it. You might be grounded and run away." I guess kind of, trying to claim that, like, oh, Jace was grounded and then he ran away, which potentially he had been grounded. One of the times that he ran away, he potentially did run away due to being grounded. I mean, we know the first time Jace ran away, he had gotten expelled from school. He had gotten expelled from school. The principal called Janelle and said, "We need someone to come get him. He's been expelled." Janelle said, "I'll send David," and Jace booked it from the school. So I'm sure he probably was grounded at that point from, for whatever happened at school that led him to get expelled. But what we also know is he was not on his medication when he got expelled from school, allegedly. David has been okay. So the comment appeared to be a direct dig at Jace, who had just ran away from home. David has been accused of inflicting injury on the left and right side of Jace's neck, according to the official court summons first exclusively obtained by the Sun. According to the court documents, David willingly harmed Jace in this September incident. The court documents state the defendant unlawfully and willingly did, being the parent of Jace B. Evans, who was a child less than 16 years of age, inflicted physical pain on said child. The physical injury inflicted caused marks on their right arm, left, and right side of the cheek, and was inflicted by other than accidental means. The date of the alleged incident is September 28th, which is the same day that Jace claimed his stepdad attacked him, according to multiple sources at the time. David has not yet directly addressed any of the allegations made against him. Janelle and David have three other minors in the home: Inslee, who is 6, who they share together; Kaiser, who is 9, who she shares with Nathan; and then Marissa, who is 16, who David shares with Whitney Rich. Let's see. All right, so that is all of that article. Now, Janelle did kind of go off on Facebook earlier today, posting about Barbara. It's honestly wild to see people on Janelle's page like, "I love you, Janelle. You're so great." Like, y'all do understand, like, her husband allegedly attacked. And here's the thing, even if what we've been told about the Jay situation, like the attack, even if like we're so far off base with that, just the things that we've seen on TV, the way that David has treated Janelle, the 911 calls, the when he was recording and Inslee was like, "Don't you kill another baby chick. I'm gonna be so mad." He's like, "What are you talking about?" The way he gaslights his family, the way that he accuses them of lying. I mean, Inslee was literally like, "No, yesterday you killed a baby chick. Don't do that again or I'm gonna be sad." And he's like, "I did not. Why would you say that?" And she's like, "'Cause you did." And he's like, "Girl, I'll slap you in the mouth." Like all these things, even if the Jace incident were so wrong in what happened. Say we don't know, and just somehow David was the victim here, okay? Based on all the other things that we have seen, I still don't understand how she could stay with him. And I don't understand these people that like sing her praises on Facebook. Like I really don't. It's like bewildering to me. I'm like, I love you, Jeanette. Like what? But one thing that I have learned is that, like even like Chris Watts has fans, Marilyn Manson has fans. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So I don't know if I can make this bigger. Okay. So 11 hours ago, she said, "That's so crazy." So Barbara leaks information to Shannon Gordon, which I don't know who that is, but you just dox somebody. You just dox somebody. Nobody knows who that is, but now they do, and they might look into this person. And that's where the Ashley gets her lies from. Makes sense because I'm taking Shannon and her husband to court, and they are ordered to pay me back my 2K they owe me. Of course, my mom would become friends with my enemies on purpose to tell stories. Silly me. She is not trying to be a mother to me. Why would I ever think that? Like, first off, Janelle, you talk to media just as well as Barbara does. You talk to the Daily Mail. You did interviews with TMZ after David killed your dog. You went to, Entertainment Tonight. You were on People Magazine. Like, why is it that you, Janelle, you can do all these interviews and it's fine, but Barbara's not allowed to speak on the situation? Never, never. Barbara's not allowed. That doesn't really make sense. Barbara's older than you. She can decide who she wants to talk to. She said that's where the Ashley gets her lies from. To this date, to date, you guys, out of all the Ashley's articles that I've ever read, I really can't think of any lies that the Ashley's ever told. To be quite honest, there's been tons of things that the Ashley has stated that Janelle has said, "That's a lie." And then the Ashley posts like the court document proving that it's true. or that a day later, like, the police report comes out or the 911 call comes out, and it's like, "Janelle, the Ashley just reported this, then you called 911. You say you didn't call 911, and now here's your 911 call." So I to say that the Ashley, like, lies all the time, like, I can't think of one at this point. I mean, and if she's ever posted anything that was incorrect, I doubt it was on purpose. Um, okay, so she says, "Because I'm taking Shannon and her husband to court, and they are ordered to pay me back my 2K they owe me." First off, if you are taking them to court, then how do you already know the outcome of court? To me, if you are taking them to court, then what you are wanting is for them to pay the 2K. Doesn't mean that they have been. And I haven't seen any court documents with Janelle and this Shannon Gordon person. And I would feel like if Janelle had already taken someone to court and sued them for some type of way, civil court, whatever, that we would know about it. I really feel like we would know about it. I watched Janelle and Barbara's part 1 and 2. Janelle never wanted to be around her son. She left the house because Barbara asked her to help her find a bottle. There were so many instances where Barbara was like, "Please, Janelle." I mean, Barbara would cry and be like, "I want you to do good. I'm worried about you." And she'd be like, "Shut up," and just leave. I mean, I watch the clips too. I've been watching a lot of older clips of the show lately, and I'm not gonna say that Barbara did not have her faults, but Barbara never gave up. Barbara begged Janelle and would cry and be like, "I really want you to do good. I just want the best for you. Please, Janelle, I want you to go to school. I want you to be his mom. Like, I'm his grandmother. I want you to be his mom." But one thing that Barbara wasn't gonna stand for is when Barbara was like, I'm his grandmother. I want you to be his mom." But Barbara wanted Janelle to step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? She wanted her to step up to the plate and put him as a priority and not just treat him like he's an accessory. Yeah, at least Barbara tries. I know. And let me tell you guys, I've talked to several people that know this family, people within the family, and there's things that's happened within Barbara's life that people don't even know about. That if they did, it they may understand like why Barbara's not perfect. But Barbara raised 3 children. All of these children basically, even as they were older, still needed Barbara in some capacity. Ashley, was a single mom for a while as well. And then she got married and then went through a bad divorce and had a lot of like craziness go on in her life. And then Colin still depends on Barbara. And then Janelle was a teen mom. So Barbara has always still had to like be there for her kids, her adult kids, in a bigger capacity than most people have to be there for their adult children, right? Um, she could have said, "You know what? No, like I'm helping Ashley. I got to help Colin. You got pregnant at 15? No, that baby's going for adoption." She could have, but she never did. She continued to work at Walmart, paying her bills and paying for daycare and doing everything that she could. So, um, you know, all right, let me continue. And then I'll answer questions at the end if you guys have any questions or all right, so of course my moms will become friends with my enemies on purpose to tell stories. Maybe your mom was just friends with them before because you guys have been on TV for many, many, many years. Honestly, I haven't spoken to my mom since July because she is mad about our family trip to Puerto Rico for some reason. I'll be mad too, Janelle. Listen, let's talk about the Puerto Rico trip because I actually saw on Kitty Jaker's Instagram where Kitty Jaker spoke to a source, and this is allegedly what a source said happened in Puerto Rico. Janelle and the whole family and Barbara went to Puerto Rico. They rented this Airbnb. Like Janelle rented the Airbnb, but Barbara paid for like the car. One night, Barbara asked to use the car, and Janelle said no. And Barbara's like, "Give me the keys. I want to go to the gas station." And she's like, "No." Well, it was still kind of daylight outside. So Barbara's like, "Well, I'll just get Jace to walk with me to the store." And she's like, and she had just gotten custody back of Jace, like weeks before that. Janelle had gotten custody back of Jace. Um, and Janelle says, "If you leave with Jace, I'll have you arrested for kidnapping." Literally, weeks after she just gotten him, she's already threatening her mom with him. So Barbara once again asked for the keys to a car that she rented, no less, according to what was said. She walks to the store. On her way back, it starts getting dark. she starts getting a little freaked out because she's in Puerto Rico. Here she is, this little old woman walking the streets in like in a place she's unfamiliar with. So by the time she gets back to the Airbnb, she is ticked off. Jenelle is outside on the steps and she walks up and she's like, you know what, Jenelle, like, really? Like, you really can just give me the daggum keys? Like, here I am. I just had to walk. I'm 70 years old, walk to the store, walk back. And they get into this argument. So, and then Jenelle basically tells her, you can get on a flight and bring your ass back to the United States. Leave. So the Puerto Rico trip was a disaster from what's been said. Um, so she's like, for some reason, my mom has been mad since that trip. Well, you don't say. She has me blocked, even though I've tried reaching out before. But last night I caved in and called her after hearing her leaking this information. How do you know this is her leaking the information? After I asked about Shannon, Barbara said, you're delusional. You'll never get him back. I don't talk to Shannon. She hangs up on me. She hangs up on me. Then, not even 5 minutes later, calls someone I know. And I heard my mom say, why did you tell Jenelle I was talking to Shannon? Proving my point, proving I wasn't wrong. Let's just say I would have to hear this recorded to believe that this actually happened. I would really have to. I just can't believe anything that comes out of Janelle's mouth. That's just to be honest. Maybe Janelle's talking to, maybe Barbara's talking to Shannon. Maybe so. But I take Jenelle, everything that she says with a grain of salt. I mean, we have seen Jenelle tell blatant lies just to make the public believe her against the police, CPS, her mom, David. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I would never think in a million years my own mother would be treating me this way. What about the way that you've treated her, Jenelle? I'm sick of holding back and going to start releasing pieces of my childhood story. The way I was raised was not okay. I protected my children against her and my mentally unstable siblings, which I do not talk to or let my kids around for a reason. There's also a reason I never mention I have a brother or a sister to the public. I think there's a lot of others who will relate to my childhood trauma and maybe not feel as lonely if I share my story. I don't know if I was Colin and Ashley, I would take this to a court system and say I want a restraining order to where I'm not in the public eye and I don't want her putting any information out about me. Oh, that's a good one. How did she call Barbara if Barbara had her blocked? Yeah. How does she call? Does it come through if you do star 67? I don't know. Maybe. Um, just know, Barbara, you messed with the wrong mom. You used me for money. You used my son for money. First off, you used me for money. What? She raised your whole child. How did she use you for money? She had to have an extra room. CPS was at her house more times than she could count to make sure she was a fit parent for Jace. She paid for everything when Jace was a child. She paid for his daycare, his school clothes, hair. Like, what do you mean she used you for money? All the money that she spent towards doctor bills, medication. Like, what? You want to know who's used you for money, Jenelle? That's David. That's who's used you for money, and all the men. Used my son for money. What? Because she asked for a little freaking child support from you? And now you brag about your house being paid off because of me. Maybe she said, oh, because of MTV, because of us being on MTV, I was able to buy my house and pay it off. And I just feel like Jenelle twisted everything to make it like horrible. Like I could hear Barbara saying like, yeah, I was able to buy my house and pay it off with the money that I made from the show. What does Jenelle have to pay to show for it? I bought a house, paid it off. I did this, I did that. And Janelle's over there sinking in her stinky swamp. Maybe she didn't say that, but maybe she just like the show, like me working at Walmart and the show was how I was able to pay my house off. You don't ask how I'm doing as a mother should. You protect Ashley because she lost custody of her kids. You bought her a car, buy her house, buy her custody lawyers, but try to fight me for taking perfectly good care of my family. That should tell you something there. That if Barbara has two other children that she will be there for, take care of, will buy her child a car and a house and do all these things. but yet you and her bump heads, then maybe you're the problem, and maybe it's not necessarily her because Barbara has a good relationship with Ashley and with Colin. But you know what? Somebody told me one time that when Janelle was like at the height of her fame and was making all kind of money, her brother Colin had gotten a job and Christmas was coming around, and Barbara was like, "Hey Janelle, why don't you get your brother Colin a nice pair of work gloves?" And Janelle said, "I'm not buying him nothing." And did she buy her siblings anything for Christmas? No, but she'll spend whatever money on those broke bums that she messes around with. No wonder why none of your family talks to you from up north. I'm not going to trust that either. No one trusts you and never will. I feel like Barbara has like longtime friends. I've heard this that Barbara has longtime friends that has been her friends for many years. That she has family. Like, but Janelle, who do you have? Who do you have, Janelle? None of your family talk to you. Your mom, your sister, your brother, your dad. Like nobody. Friends that you had in high school. Nobody. So like, who do you have, Janelle? Yeah, Janelle didn't help her mom. Her mom helped Janelle. Thank you. Exactly, Janelle, you did not help your mom. Your mom helped you. Like what? You were too busy off smoking reefer with Keefa. You know what I'm saying? Like, and doing God knows what else. Um, I don't know, Toasted. I really just think it's because Colin does struggle a little bit. The fact that Janelle says like she has siblings that she has nothing to do with. What didn't she say they both have mental health issues? Didn't she say that? She said my mentally unstable siblings, which I do not talk to or let near my kids for a reason. So, what makes them mentally unstable? To our knowledge, they have never been arrested. Like we never, and we are. Well, no, I think Colin has actually, but like being Janelle's status, if her brother and sister was to get arrested for something crazy, like we would know about it. It would be talked about at least a little bit, right? So how do we really know they're mentally unstable? Like, I mean, Janelle, you're not mentally stable in my opinion. You would think you would want to protect a minor as much as possible and not by releasing his medical information to the media over and over again. Like I said at the beginning, don't point fingers at us because it's not. Someone send this to her. Thanks. I don't know when Barbara released his medical information. She didn't say what medication technically he was on. She listen, that has been on the show since he was young. They've all talked about it on the show. And Janelle keeps saying, "This is about my son's mental health. This is about my son's mental health. This is about my son's mental health." Janelle deflects and has victim mentality. And yes, I was wrong. Colin has went to jail and it has been reported. When Colin was arrested, it was reported. I think like People Magazine or Us Weekly reported it. Um, so let's continue. It's crazy how older women treat me more like a mom on the internet by writing me with encouragement and words of caring more than my own mother does. I have a feeling if you were to be around these women, I give it a month and they would be like, never mind. Thanks, everyone. I see your comments and it does really make me feel better. Just understand I am one broken daughter right now that wishes I had one parent that acts like one. Now the media thinks they know my medical condition or my medical information. That's crazy. They can report lie after lie after lie. Going to say this again. This case isn't about me. Can't wait to move far, far away. Let me tell you something, Janelle. Even if you move far, far away, as long as you're still posting on social media, people are going to talk about it. Um, okay. I remember her saying Colin essayed her growing up. I never remember her saying that Colin essayed her, but I do remember Colin allegedly making a post insinuating that something happened between him and Janelle because I did a video on it. And Colin reached out to me and said that his page had been hacked. So I don't remember Janelle has had this entitlement from day one. I don't know where she gets it from either. Does anybody remember Janelle ever making that um those claims against Colin? I remember Colin on his Facebook. This is back in 2019. There was a post made on Colin's Facebook saying that, you know, something happened between him and Jenelle. However, he contacted me and said that his page had been hacked and that he did not make that comment, that he did not make that post, that his page had been hacked. I don't take away Janelle's post on social media as of what happened because as watching the show from when I was 16, nothing she says is adding up. Um, yeah. What happened to Janelle's the Flossie Network? I like that. What happened to Janelle's father? From my understanding, he's a POS. Not good things. Not good thing. Like he is not around and she hasn't seen him in many years. Am I blurry to you guys? I got blurry to myself. So yes, that was basically the post. Like, I don't know, like somebody like made a comment like, Jace looks just like you. And, you know, allegedly, um, he was like, I think he could be mine because one time when I was at such and such age, I woke up in the middle of the night to somebody on top of me and, you know, did the thing. And when she walked out, I realized it was like Jenelle. And then a few months later, she was having a baby. So, maybe so. Actually talked about that. I was like, that's so wild because I don't know if he understands what he's saying. And then he reached out to me. I was like, listen, I get you got to do your job. Like, I get, that you talk about like my sister and everything. And due to that post, like, I get, why you talked about it, but that was not me. My page was hacked. Somebody else posted that. I had to change my password. So, uh, I've talked to Colin at length. I mean, I haven't in a minute, but back in 2019, 2020, he would come into my streams. He would call me and talk to me. And I would definitely say he does still need Barbara to help a little bit, but like the last time I talked to him, he lived like around the block from Barbara. He worked, he did carpentry work. Barbara would help him in some capacities, but like he wasn't like completely just unable to tend to himself. Yes, they did do a DNA test. So once again, I want to talk about the medication situation because people really was upset about me saying that Jace needed to be back on his medication. I have a son who is severely ADHD, and there has been a shortage on ADHD medication, right? So my son went without his medication for a few weeks. In that time span, his grades dropped and he was getting notes sent home from his teachers that he's unable to pay attention, that he won't be still. Mind you, this child never got in trouble before. Very quiet, do his work, like just a great kid as far as in school. Did not talk when he wasn't supposed to, but without his medication, he just can't. He's very like moving and messing with things and not paying attention and not concentrating on. Literally, his grades suffered, and he was getting in trouble at school. So I know personally when you have a child, and listen, I'm all for like you as a parent making that decision. But when my son was in kindergarten and he was failing kindergarten, and not because he like you know was unable to pass, it was strictly because he was unable to sit still and concentrate. Literally, it was literally he was unable as an educator, students with ADHD have a hard time learning. Thank you. My son is very smart, okay? But he just was unable to pay attention. Um, So, we made the decision to take him to the doctor, and they gave us the forms. They said, take one to the school and you take one. We brought them back, and they're like, due to what you put and your teacher put, the teacher put, it definitely seems like he's got ADHD. Like, bring him in. Like, he was assessed. And, it took a couple of times to find the right medication, but we finally got him on the right medication to where now, guess what? He makes perfect grades, like great grades. There's been no he never gets a note from the teacher saying that he's not acting right. Never. Shortage of medication and bam. Grades dropping, can't sit still, notes from the teacher. So listen, if you ever get to the point where you have a child or a grandchild that can't pass their classes because their ADHD is so bad, then you're going to change your mind about medication, or maybe you'll do, more something, um, maybe not medication, but something. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to use. Or try to find. You guys know what I'm saying? Like a more natural approach, but maybe you could do that. But listen, I used to have a doctor that I would go to him and say things, oh, just a boy being boy, just a boy being boy. No, the doctor that we have now is amazing. She listens to us. Yes, that's the word. That holistic. Yeah, exactly. One of those. If you want to, I'm all for it because I do understand. Like big pharma is just out to make their money. I do know that, and I get that. But Barbara has had Jace like problems with Jace, like acting out and being too energetic from day one, being mean to other kids and just being, so I think Barbara did the best that she could. From my understanding, Toasted, it's a difference between Colin and Jace. There's a little bit of a difference. Like Colin was like upstairs playing and accidentally lit the house on fire and then like tried to like save everyone, like he just not knowing any better would make mistakes that could be like detrimental to people's lives. Because he like did not know any better. You know what I'm saying? Um Jace, like, I don't know. It's a difference from my understanding. Yeah. You're entitled to your opinion. It was really wild to have people so upset. I was like, God, the comments were kind of wild. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, geez, do they not understand that he's been on medication for 7 years? You can't just take him off. That's why I'm like making these comments. Um, Let me see if I can find some of them. Let's all keep talking about her past. People do change. Also, the boy is running away from everyone. I pray you all never have to experience a teen running away. Mine tried because he just wasn't getting his way. So it does happen. Y'all are wild. That was one comment. I don't see a change in Jenelle because she still chooses men over her children, in my opinion. She's still pretty selfish. And honestly, if your child will run away just because they're not getting their way, they may need something else, something more. You know what I'm saying? I have 6 children, and I don't know. I feel like if your child is to the point where they will run away, there may be a bigger underlining issue that you need to look into for your child. Maybe there's something more. Um, let's see. Somebody said I have ADHD, and in my opinion, because he is without his meds, I would almost guarantee he feels really restless, caged in, and is being very impulsive. It's like an obsessive thought replaying. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. It's like stifling, stifled. Uh, like you can't breathe. It becomes overwhelming, especially for a teen who doesn't have the tools to cope with these thoughts and feelings. My heart goes out to Jason and Barbara. I imagine she must feel helpless. That CPS there is so despicable. They are there for the interest. They are there for the interest of the child. If they were there for the interest of the child, a judge would have immediately began the procedure to ensure Barbara was Jace's guardian medically. This crap would not be going down like this in Texas. Basically, Barb and Jace are in a no-win situation. Just putting it back with Barbara doesn't solve anything. His mental health and a stable environment needed to be addressed simultaneously. Sending Jason home. I agree with that. I would run away too if I had family trauma like Jace does. He probably ran away due to him being scared of having to possibly return to Janelle. If Barb got permanent custody, he might feel a little bit better about the situation. I can't find can't find it. But yeah, I got some pretty pretty mean comments over it. One person was like, "How dare you say like I'm so shocked that you said he needed more medication." I'm like, "I never said that. I said he needs possibly his medication or the fact that she just ripped him off of it. It's like she didn't taper him off. Um she didn't consult with medical professionals from my understanding. It was just like stop taking. Uh, yeah, if Jace was back with Janelle and David, I give it an hour before he runs away again, and this time he'll make it so they won't find him. Jace is having fight or flight thoughts. I'm sure. I think taking him off his meds really is the root of his acting out. Plus, his whole world changing, leaving Barbara's house, in my opinion. Yeah. Also, stability and routines are key for kids with ADHD. That poor boy was pulled from his stability and thrown into chaos. I'm not surprised he's acting out the way that he did. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, that's where we're at right now. And I am like, here's my concern is the fact that CPS, they are actively making Janelle do certain things, intensive therapy, submit to random drug tests. It does concern me that they would potentially place Jace back with Janelle at some point later. Because if the charges get dropped against David for whatever reason, and they seem to believe that this is going to help their case, they do believe that this is going to help the fact that he ran away from Barbara is like, oh, so he ran away from there too. So he's lying about what he said we did. So if it does get dropped, then the potential could be there for her to get custody back of Jace because a lot of states are all about, reunification and the mom having custody of her child. So I agree, Shannon. I agree. So she has not regained custody of Jace right now. She still has she has the ability to make decisions for him medically. But she has been, like I said, she has been ordered to undergo intensive therapy and submit to random drug testing. Jace is in a hospital right now, and as of what is being said, he is not allowed to go back to live with Barbara. So, as of if more comes out, I'll let you guys know. But I have to get off. This one's almost an hour long, and I have to run my son to his girlfriend's house. So I'll be back on later to talk about Kale Lowry and Chris Lopez. Chris Lopez was calling Kale out earlier, saying, "Girl, stay off your back." So we'll talk about that later. Like, share, subscribe, leave me your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.